Just want to take you back to our top story now, the killing of the Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. The United States has imposed economic sanctions on 17 Saudi citizens. Let's talk now to Giorgio Cafiero, the CEO of the think tank, the Middle Eastern Institute, who joins us live now from Washington. Giorgio, so Saudi Arabia's public prosecutor says an intelligence officer ordered Jamal Khashoggi's death, not Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Saudi Arabia and the United States will be wanting to draw a line under this issue as soon as possible. How likely is this to happen now?
I think it's quite unlikely. You're 100% right to point out that the Trump administration, as well as the Saudi leadership in Riyadh, would really like to move past this entire case. But, you know, I think many people in the West and in Turkey are very, very skeptical about, you know, each Saudi narrative that comes out, not only because these narratives contradict each other, but also because MBS has so much power consolidated in his hands. Many people have a very difficult time believing that people within the Crown Prince's circle could have carried out this act without Mohammed bin Salman himself knowing about it. So certainly there are questions that remain open, and as long as they remain open, this crisis is going to continue for Saudi Arabia.
Can we focus on these U.S. economic sanctions? Are they really any more than perhaps a U.S. move to be seen to be doing something amid all of the international outrage?
Well, to be fair to the Trump administration, they made it clear that these sanctions are the first step and certainly not necessarily the last step. I don't believe that these sanctions alone will result in people in Washington and other countries concluding that the White House has taken sufficient action to hold Riyadh accountable, but I certainly think that these sanctions were implemented as part of an effort to decrease the calls from Democratic lawmakers and some Republican lawmakers too for further action. I think this was partially aimed at sort of acquiescing some demands from lawmakers in Washington. Of course, we're going to have to see what comes next, though.
You allude to these many calls for an international, transparent investigation. I mean, do you believe that's going to happen? And if it doesn't, how does Saudi Arabia ever rehabilitate itself in the eyes of the international community?
You know, I think it's important to keep in mind that a lot of the outrage expressed towards Saudi Arabia is coming from NATO countries, so Turkey and Western countries, and we've heard some condemnation from Iran. But when we look east to countries like China, Russia, and other Arab countries, we're either seeing governments take a neutral stance or express solidarity with Saudi Arabia right now. So I think probably what's going to happen is if this issue remains open, which I expect it to, Saudi Arabia will probably pivot more to the east and try to build up deeper relationships with Beijing, Moscow, where officials in those capitals are not putting really any pressure at all on Saudi Arabia to be transparent about what happened in the Saudi consulate in Turkey last month. I think obviously the West has many interests, economic, geopolitical, and security-oriented, that are going to continue driving these Western states to collaborate with Saudi Arabia. So I don't think that Riyadh's ties with Western countries are about to come to an end or be fundamentally reshaped. But there's no doubt that there's going to be new baggage in Saudi Arabia's relationship with NATO countries. And it's very difficult at this early stage to predict how all of this is going to unfold. But certainly the U.S.-Saudi relationship will be facing some problems in the future.
Giorgio Cafiero in Washington, thank you very much.